so important to keep a consistent draw engine going throughout the game. Just keeping you filling your hand up to 5. That's definitely unfortunate, though, not getting that bridge at turn 1 that is so important in the Pokemon TCG.
Right. But sadly, like you said, he didn't get it, but a Cynthia's not too bad. It will refresh your hand for 6.
Yes, 6 new cards. He's definitely going to hope to find at least 1 more Ralts. Honestly, it is a little risky attaching this Fairy Energy to the Ralts. Noel doesn't know what Michael Pramawat is playing yet, and if he plays DCE in his deck, all he needs to do is put a DCE on that Lele, and he can knock out this Ralts this turn if Noel does not find one.
Right. Does not look like he found it, but I do think he has the Ultra Ball, yes.
He does, so he can find one here, and that's certainly what he'll go for. He also has that Bridget in his hand, so he can get up a turn 2 Bridget. Definitely not ideal, but still is going to be a good way for him to get set up in this game.
Sooner rather than later,
Absolutely.
always with Bridget.
Absolutely. So Ultra Ball here. I would be very surprised if this got anything besides a Ralts here.
Right. But it looks like he's checking all his prizes. He is looking for that little Vulpix technique. Like right now.
Yep, and this actually, now that I see this, it actually makes a lot of sense. He does have the Fairy Energy on Ralts. He can just retreat to the Vulpix. He knows Michael likely has no way to knock out the Vulpix next turn. It'll be safe, and this secures the turn 2 beacon from Noel.
Right, will help him set up profusely compared to not having it out and having that routes. He's checking his prizes right now. It looks like we do see he has at least 1 DCE there.
Yep.
Doesn't look like he was missing anything too exciting.
Yeah, Beacon, of course, a no energy cost attack. You don't have to have any energy attached to Vulpix to use it, and you get to search your deck for 2 Pokemon and put them directly into your hand. Really great in these Stage 2 setup decks. I did notice, I think Noel did have to discard a Guzma with that Ultra Ball, which is definitely unfortunate, but we're going to pass it over to Pramawat's turn and see what he can do on his first turn here.
Looks like he has 2 energy, a Guzma, DCE, not too much else.
Yeah, I know. He's definitely probably looking for an Ultra Ball. Getting a Bridget would be great to discard those energies, but no, he's going to have to Cynthia himself.
Ooh.
Both of these players not getting that Bridget that we see being so crucial here in the Pokemon TCG. And we'll have to see if Pramawat, off of this, like, he needs to find Zaruas, he needs to find Vulpixes if he wants to get set up and start attacking for effective damage on the next turn.
We do note here that he did attach that DCE to that Lele. That will help put chip damage onto that Vulpix.
Yep. Yeah, I think he knows, like, I might as well try to do a little damage this turn, and he'll probably have to retreat this Lele next turn anyway with a DCE, so he's saying, might as well go ahead and attach it so I can try to get that, movement next turn if I need it.
Right.
It looks like he did draw a Zorua off of that Cynthia, so he'll at least have that option to get a Zoroark in play, but I don't see a Vulpix in that hand.
I do not either. And I don't see a way for him to get one.
No, and looks like he will just go ahead and Energy Drive for 40 damage, and we'll go over to Noel's turn, and we know he has that Bridget, so if he wants to use that option, that's definitely something he could do.
Right. He does evolve into Kirlia, and we do see that turn 2 Bridget.
Yep. Like we said, definitely ideally want to get it on turn 1, but it's not too bad here, especially since he'll be able to go Bridget directly into Beacon and find himself potentially an Octillery and maybe even one of those Stage 2 Pokemon, either Gardevoir or Gallade.
Have a bench full of routes now.
Definitely what you want to see if you are the Gardevoir player. Looks like he doesn't have any sort of follow-up next turn, but like I said, he can just Beacon here for the Octillery, and looks like he's eyeing up the Gallade. We'll see if he gets for Gallade here or the Gardevoir. And I also really like this intelligent play from Noel, as opposed to attaching to the Kirlia that he just evolved. He attaches an energy to the Ralts. That means if Pramawat does get a Guzma plus DCE playoff, he can't take out both the energy and Noel's evolved Pokemon in the same time. Yep. So it looks like Noel did decide to get that Gardevoir GX.
And the turn 2 Bridget right off the bat from Michael Pramawat.
Pramawat's just kind of following suit after Noel, playing a Cynthia after Noel does, playing a Bridget after Noel does. Just kind of anything you can do, I can do better, it seems like, over on Pramawat's side.
He is eyeing up at least 1 Zoro right now.
And I wouldn't be surprised if Pramawat just went for a Beacon set-up play this turn. Since he does play Vulpix, he does get to do Beacon himself. So we'll see if that's what he decides to go for. And one thing about Pramawat's list, he does play the baby Alolan Ninetales with that Luminous Barrier ability, which prevents all effects of attacks done to it by Pokemon EX and Pokemon GX. So that means that Gallade from Noel is going to be extremely important for him.
Right.
So we'll see if Pramawat, he could take a knockout on Vulpix or retreat and Beacon, but no, Pramawat just says, I think my hand is good enough. I'm going to go ahead and just take this knockout here, go up on the prize lead on this turn.
Shuts down Noel from really trying to set up anymore.
Sure.
But he does have that Octillery in hand. We should see that dropping down soon.
Yep, and I think he actually top-decked a Curlia, which is a excellent top deck for Noel. He's going to be able to get a lot of evolutions in play this turn. And this is definitely going to be a strong turn from Noel, I think.
Definitely. There's that Curlia you did mention. He goes down to 0-card hand with that Super Rod getting back 2 energy and in an Alolan Vulpix.
Yeah, definitely good to put back those fairy energies. You want to have access to a lot of them in your deck to use a Gardevoir GX's Secret Spring ability to just get those extra energy attachments every single turn, which is what makes Gardevoir so powerful. And Noel technically could get a knockout here on this Tapu Lele. He would need a lot of cards to do it, but he's going to be drawing 5 here with Octillery. Yep. He can still play a supporter this turn. He can, Secret Spring, attach DCE, Choice Band, and I believe that would be enough.
Would be interesting to see what he draws. It looks like there is a DCE in hand.
Okay, so that's definitely the first step to the process. DCE, Choice Band, and Fairy Energy is going to be what Noel's looking for. Parallel City, extremely strong here, forcing Pramawat to discard one of the Pokemon on his side of the field.
He opted for the Zorua.
Yep. Definitely doesn't. I think he's kind of valuing getting out this baby Alolan Ninetales next turn. That's really all he's going to have to wall against this big Gardevoir GX. And a Sycamore from Noel, digging for that Choice Band. If he finds it, it will take 2 prizes and take a really, really strong lead.
Did he get it?
I don't see it yet. I can't quite tell. I see an N Max Potion. I can't see the Choice Band yet, though. I feel like if he had it, he would have slammed it down immediately. Looks like he does find a rare candy, though, and a Stage 2 Pokemon that's going to be Gallade.
Once again, that Gallade being pivotal in this matchup because of that Vulpix, or that Ninetales.
Yes, the Alolan Ninetales there, and of course, just such a good consistency Pokemon as well when combined with Octillery. That Premonition ability letting you look at the top 5 cards of your deck once per turn and rearranging them in any order, extremely strong, so Noel's going to be able to control his draws for the rest of the game, basically, with this Gallade Octillery deck. I know Noel has played a more, Gallade-focused Gallade Octillery deck in the past, so he's a big fan of this combo for sure.
He does love a good Gallade deck.
Yes. It looks like he did, unfortunately, with this KO here. Definitely missing that Choice Band is unfortunate.
But that is a lot of damage. We have a Enhanced Hammer go down on that DCE, removing it from the field. As well as a Field Blower, getting rid of that Parallel City.
Saying you're not going to, that Parallel City's going to quit bugging me now, and we'll see. He's got Double Puzzle in hand, which Double Puzzle is such a strong combo. Of course, when you play 2 Puzzle of Time from your hand, you get to get any 2 cards back out of your discard pile. But there's not a lot there that he wants to get back yet.
Right. We do have the puzzle coming out. We get the DCE, and it's going to look like the Cynthia.
Yeah, so this is smart. Normally you want to wait to retreat until after you've kind of interacted with your deck and finished doing what you're going to do before you retreat and make your last action. But Pramawat here being extremely smart, going for that retreat so that he can get the DCE back with those double puzzles in his hand and playing a Cynthia right away. After attaching that DCE to Vulpix, I certainly think he's going to try to find that. It
looks like that Ninetales is coming out.
Yep, that's definitely what he's going to be looking for. Looking for a Ninetales here or an Ultra Ball. He hasn't played any Ultra Balls yet, so he certainly has a lot of outs to find it here off of these 6 cards. So let's see it.
Does he get it?
Well, that is an Ultra Ball in his hand, so he does pull it off. He's got a Water Energy as well, which I think he's fine discarding because he can use Aqua Patch later on, and also a Rangaroo from Ultra Prism hitting the discard pile.
And there is the Luminous Barrier, Alolan Ninetales coming to the field with that ability you mentioned earlier.
Yep, Noel with Gallade in play will be able to take a knockout on this, but he would have to find some combination of Floatstone or Fairy Energy to retreat this active Gardevoir and a double colorless energy in order to attack with Gallade.
There goes the Aqua Patch, getting that Water Energy onto the bench.
Yep, extra energy attachment's always great for sure, and looks like we're just going to see a pass from Pramawat over to Noel. We'll see what he can do with this turn. I think Noel is certainly in the driver's seat this game.
He does have a very strong start right now, but that Alolan Ninetales could definitely slow him down right now if he
Absolutely.
can't get that Gallade up.
Yep.
The Lele has hit the bench though, allowing him to get looks like a Guzma's coming out.
Certainly does. And actually, funny enough, I think Pramawat did, Noel did 150 damage to that Tapu Lele, so Noel could actually use Guzma, and he could even attack with Kirlia here. I believe Draining Kiss is Kirlia's attack. It does 20 damage, and that would take a knockout on this Tapu Lele without risking a Stage 2 Pokemon. So that would be, we'll see what Noel does, but I think that would be pretty interesting. He, of course, could also just Energy Drive. That might be slightly better, but...
We might as well go all out at this point.
He does have 2 Fairy Energies in his hand, so he could attack with Gallade, he could attack with Tapu Lele. Noel just has all kinds of options. He's using that Premonition ability here, kind of eyeing up what he's going to be able to draw with Abyssal Hand this turn, and what he's going to be able to top deck on his following turn. Really smart sequencing here from Noel, using that Tapu Lele to get Guzma, and then using Premonition so that his deck is randomized again, and now he can see 5 new cards compared to the cards that were on his deck from last turn.
Right. Looks like he has decided on how his 5 will be placed going forward. It looks like he's debating on an energy placement.
Yeah, I think he's just trying to figure out what he wants to attack with. He has a lot of options here. It looks like it is going to be a attachment to the active and a Guzma, and he is going to bring up the Kirlia here. Oh, but actually bringing up the Zorua. So I wonder if he, in these top 5 cards, I didn't notice what he saw, but he may have seen another Stage 2 Pokemon he wants to attack with, or he might just retreat this Kirlia and attack with Gardevoir.
It looks like that is exactly what he's doing. He knows having those Zoroarks out and being able to trade is not a fun time.
Yeah, absolutely. That's super crucial to Pramawat's setup and his consistency. So by doing this, he takes all of his Zoruas out of play. No Zoroarks will hit the field this turn, and I mean, it's turn 4 at this point, and Pramawat has not seen a Zoroark yet, which is, for these Zoroark decks, so crucial.
Right. We do have another Cynthia played on Pramawat's side, refreshing his hand to 6.
And if he can find a Water Energy, he can attack here with that Alolan Ninetales. Aurora Beam does 80 damage, which isn't a lot of damage, but when you're immune to Pokemon EX and Pokemon GX, it's not too bad.
It's not too bad at all. Not only that, it's only a 1 prizer.
Absolutely. Noel has to do a lot of work to deal with this Pokemon. That's only going to net him one prize.
Right.
So I actually don't think Pramawat hit a Water Energy, which is super unfortunate here. He has 1 puzzle at a time, a Floatstone. He does have another Alolan Ninetales. Yeah, it looks like it's just going to be a pass over to Noel. This is not looking good for Pramawat. And Noel, I think, is still just left with so many options this turn. He has a Professor Sycamore. I don't know that he wants to play that. I think he has a lot of resources in his hand, and looks like it is just going to be an N. He does only get 5 cards off of this, but he's also, putting Pram at 5 cards. It's not too bad.
Not only that, if he starts playing cards, he can Abyssal Hand for more.
Absolutely, and with that Premonition ability, of course, being able to pick whatever cards from the top of the deck he wants.
Exactly. Not only that, his deck is getting very thin right now, now that we're about mid-game. He does need to manage his resources.
Absolutely. He's pulled a lot of his basic Pokemon out of the deck already. I think, this Kirlia has stuck around for a while now, but if he can find another Stage 2 and get 3 Stage 2 Pokemon in play, it's going to be really difficult for Pramawat to do much with this game, I think.
Definitely.
I don't see a Stage 2 evolution yet. I'm not sure I even see an energy over there in Noel's hand.
I did think I saw...
Oh,
there
there's
it
a
is.
fairy,
Yes.
Yep. So he does have at least 1 attachment. He's going to Premonition before attaching, which I think is smart. What you see in the top 5 cards could affect where you want to make this energy attachment.
It looked like there was 2 Cynthia and a Kirlia in there.
Yeah, so playing the 3 Kirlia, a very thick evolution line. And I think if he could get that Kirlia in play this turn, he's guaranteeing himself basically that he can have the ability to potentially get 3 Stage 2 Pokemon in play next turn.
Definitely.
So we'll see what he decides to get here. We know he'll draw minimum 1 card after attaching an energy with the Abyssal Hand. So he'll, probably put 1 card he wants to play now on top, and then put a card that he wants to top deck next turn on top again. So
energy attachment to that lone route. The only non-evolved Pokemon on his side,
Yep,
besides that Lele.
Yep, and it's a very smart play from Noel, spreading his energy out, leaving himself with lots of different options so that Pramawat, is really going to have a hard time dealing with everything here. So we do see a water energy. He didn't have it last turn, has it now after that in from Noel, and he'll be able to start attacking with this Alolan Ninetales.
Other than that, what does Pramawat need to do right now?
No supporter, nothing coming out. Looks like it's just going to be an Aurora Beam for 80 damage. Slow start here, but, Noel is forced to deal with this. He needs to find that double colorless energy so that he can take the knockout with Sensitive Blade.
Right.
So it looks like he's playing a Ultra Ball here. Going to just get a Gardevoir, and here it comes. We could see 4 Stage 2 Pokemon in play for Noel. And if Gardevoir ever gets 3 Gardevoir and a Gallade set up, it's very difficult for Gardevoir to lose that game, honestly. Something Noel, I guess, should be mindful of is sure, he can knock out this first Alolan Ninetales, but if Pramawat does respond and knock out the Gallade, Noel needs to make sure that he has the ability to get a Gallade back in play so that he can deal with Ninetales once again. So, even though he probably could get 3 Gardevoir in play this turn, I wouldn't be surprised to see him leave one of these Kirlias in play to give himself the option to have Gallade if Pramawat does have like another baby Ninetales like this.
Right, that is definitely the safer play. Personally, I would go about that as well. Those Alolan Ninetales are quite tricky at times, honestly.
Absolutely. We see a couple of rare candy in Noel's Premonition here. Cards that are normally great in Gardevoir, but this game has been a little slower for Noel, and he's been fine with it because he's just been manually evolving all of these Pokemon. Abyssal Hand will get to draw him 3 here. Looks like it was a Max Potion Fairy Energy and a Field Blower. Leaving those 2 rare candies in the deck. He doesn't need to find those here.
Opting to just pass.
Yep, did not find the double colorless energy, so just a pass. For all I know, he could have also announced Infinite Force, but it doesn't do any damage.
Exactly.
So over on Pramawat's side, I think...
He did draw the Guzma.
Guzma is big here. Gonna just try to get some damage off onto this Gallade. Floatstone coming onto the Lele. He can move this now. If he can get another Alolan Ninetales this turn, and take a knockout with the big Alolan Ninetales, that would take this Gallade out of play, but looks like he doesn't have that option in his hand.
Right.
So this is smart here. Sure, you're not taking the knockout, but you're putting pressure on this Gallade. You're at least hitting it, and that makes it a lot easier for you to knock out in the next turn. And if Noel doesn't find a double colorless energy this turn, Alolan Ninetales will knock out this Gallade with only 150 HP.
Right. He does look like he is premonitioning right now, looking for anything to help him out.
Yeah, he did find a couple of supporters, but I'm not sure that he has cards in his hand that he's able to play down so that he can draw with Abyssal Hand. And if he doesn't have a supporter just in his hand, it may be tough. He may have to go for a weird play where he Max Potions that Gardevoir that has 2 energy on it and Max Potions the active Gallade to draw cards. But even still, that might leave him with 5 cards, and it might be kind of tough to get what he needs this turn. Yeah, no basic fairy. I think he does have 1 in his hand, so what we might see is double Max Potion, Secret Spring attaching.
Looks like, exactly.
Yep, Secret Spring attaching to the active Gallade. Abyssal Hand will draw him the supporter he needs, and then he's really going to just need to draw in energy off of the supporter he plays for turn. So Abyssal Hand here does find the Cynthia he put there. Super Rod will put back fairy energies, just increasing the odds that he can find one this turn.
Right. 3 fairy energy right back in.
And then a Cynthia to follow it.
But not before a Field Blower.
Yep. Thinning out as many cards as possible. Like I said, just maximizing those odds. Pokemon, I think, becomes a game of odds at times. You just want to do what you can to increase your chances as much as possible. And we see Noel, very smart play here, doing exactly that.
Definitely. Here we go, cutting the deck. And let's see if he grabs at least 1 energy out of this 6.
All he needs, double colorless or fairy energy will suffice. I do see the fairy energy, so he can use Sensitive Blade, does 60 damage, plus 70 more damage if your opponent played a supporter during the last turn, and, if you played a supporter this turn, doing 130 damage, which is enough to knock out this Alolan Ninetales.
Pesky little bugger go into the discard, bringing that very damaged Lele up, though.
Yep. Looks like Pramawat's just going to attach a DCE here and go for a Cynthia. That's been really the only supporter Pramawat has played this game. Lots of Cynthias. He did Bridget that one turn, but every other turn it's basically been Cynthia for Pram.
Right.
And honestly, at this point, if I'm Pramawat, I'm staring down a really, really menacing field. I'm not sure if Pramawat could be digging here for, rescue stretcher, super odd. He definitely needs to get that Ninetales back. I'm not sure what kind of recovery cards he does play, but he wants to find it. He does get an Aqua Patch, so he can get one more energy on that Ninetales, but I don't think he wants to do that until he has something with a little more HP on the bench.
There is a big Alola Ninetales GX, it looked like.
Yep. So he could even Aqua Patch into the Ninetales and get a knockout here this turn. Doing 150 damage, I believe, would be enough to knock out, or 160 damage would knock out the Gallade with 150 HP. And discard 2 energy, making it difficult for Noel's Gardevoir to, really respond. But with 2 Gardevoir in play, Secret Springs can definitely stack up very, very quickly. I honestly think this might be what Pramawat has to do to stay in this game.
Here comes our Alola Ninetales GX. The retreat.
Yep, and looks like we will just see that. I believe it is Ice Blade doing 160 damage or 150 damage. Either way, it is enough to knock out Gallade.
Enough to knock it out.
And with just 1 energy on that Alola Ninetales, Noel needs a lot of energy plus Choice Band, something like that, to get a knockout on Ninetales. But with all these Gardevoirs in play, it's certainly something he can pull off this turn. And there's a DCE on the top. That'll certainly help to get him there. Of course, Infinite Force doing 30 damage times the amount of energy attached to both active Pokemon. Very easy to rack up damage and just use your opponent's energy cost against them.
Right, but with that Alola Ninetales GX, discarding makes it a bit trickier.
Alola Ninetales is definitely normally very good against Gardevoir GX since it does discard 2 of its energy in order to use its attack. But at this point, Noel does have lots of Gardevoirs in play, lots of options to find the cards he needs. And, I think he should be able to get this knockout here, but we'll just have to see. It kind of comes down to counts. So some of these Gardevoir lists are cutting down on their numbers of choice bands, are cutting down on their fairy energy counts. So it's going to kind of come down to that, I think. Can Noel find what he needs here this turn?
Right. He does have a Cynthia in hand, but he has played the Lele, looking in his deck to see if there's a better option. There's not much left in his deck, though.
Yeah, he certainly has thinned out his deck pretty well to this point. I think he does still have a lot of rare candies. I think he has played 1 rare candy this game. He rare candied that Gallade. Other than that, it's been all Curlia manual evolutions, so there's a chance those rare candies could clunk up his hand a little bit. And looks like he's just going to get an in out of the deck.
Putting them both down to 4 cards.
Yep. Yeah, I don't know that he'll play that necessarily. He might just be kind of trying to thin out his deck a little bit to maybe go for an Abyssal Hand, maybe. We'll just have to see what he does.
We see the 3rd Gardevoir come down.
Yep. Which I think is fine at this point. Like I said earlier, Noel wants to, normally keep a Curlia or Ralts in place so that he can get Gallade back into play if another Baby Ninetales comes out. But looking at Pram's side, he has 2 GX Pokemon in play. Noel has 4 prizes left, meaning that Noel just needs to take knockouts on the 2 Pokemon on Pram's field so he can play around that Ninetales if it does come back into play.
We end up going with the Cynthia. That N was discarded off that Ultra Ball where he got nothing. Shuffling up to draw a fresh 6 off that very thin deck.
Yep, he will need 2 Fairy Energies plus a Choice Band or 3 Fairy Energies to get the knockout here. So off of these 6 cards, we'll see if he can hit it or not.
He hits
There's
at least
one Fairy Energy at least. I'm not sure I see any more, or a Choice Band. Looks like we're just checking. There's 2 Fairy Energies. Does he have the Choice Band in order to get this knockout here? He's playing his cards down quickly. He does have the Choice Band that will get the knockout here on this Alolan Ninetales GX, and this is a massive Gardevoir that is going to be... I don't think Pram is going to be able to respond to this.
Don't think he will either.
He's got that Lele with, 150 damage on it from earlier in the game. There's just not anything Pram's going to be able to do here, I don't think. I think at this point, Pram is just kind of eyeing up what Noel has in his deck, maybe, realizing, okay, he's playing the Max Potion build, he's got the thick Curlia line, he hasn't seen a lot of rare candies, so maybe Pram doesn't even think Noel plays a lot of rare candies, but as we know, he definitely does.
Yes,
he just didn't have to use them this game.
Guzmoing up that Octillery to try and buy some time, bringing up his Alolan Vulpix.
Yep. Yeah, Pram is an extremely smart player. He's one of the best in the game, as we said. He knows about the time limits of these tournaments. I think he's usually very good about conceding whenever the game is too far gone. But I think he must see some sort of win condition here. Noel has gotten rid of a lot of Guzmas. We know he discarded one earlier. He's played at least one, I believe. So, and he does see the other Alola Ninetales. So now we know Pram plays 2 Baby Ninetales because I don't believe he's played Super Odd yet. So just getting that beacon, getting those 2 Pokemon into hand. All Noel needs here is energies to retreat to take a knockout on this Ninetales. That would put him down to 1 prize, or a Guzma would just win him the game here. But like I said, I'm not sure that he has one left.
Don't think he had one left at all.
So Noel just kind of eyeing up the situation here, trying to figure out what he needs. He's also used a ton of energies here. I believe he's only used 2 DCEs, so he should have enough to retreat this Octillery worst case scenario. But looks like Ultra Ball will just kind of thin some cards out, and looks like there's a DC in his hand.
He does have the DC in hand. He's just checking his last few cards there to make sure he has the resources he needs just in case this goes an extra turn. But I do assume he is going to, yes, attach that DCE, retreat into the giant Gardevoir.
That is a massive Gardevoir, such a threat. He's got more energies in his hand. He could Secret Spring, but no, choosing not to, choosing to hold them. Pram gonna send up this Lele, and yeah, I think this game is gonna do it. Maybe Pram is hoping, maybe Noel is out of ways to retreat. He's used a lot of energies. I don't think he has a Guzma left, so Pram does have a Lele in his hand. He could go Lele for that Guzma, bring up this Octillery, and maybe try to, see if Noel doesn't have a way to move it.
Right. Could be trying to win by deck out at this point.
Yeah, Pram is, like I said, extremely smart player, always identifying all of his possible win conditions. But no, that's going to do it.
That is it.
Pram saying, I think that's it. I think his last Guzma, yep, it was in his prize card, so he was not able to Guzma that Octillery. And looks like we're going to go to a game 2 with Noel winning that first game pretty convincingly, if you ask me.
Right. What does Michael Pramawat need to do right now in order to come back?
I think his setup was just extremely bad compared to what he's really needs to do. He never got a Zoroark in play, and Zoroark's trade ability is just so powerful and so good in the Pokemon trading card game that once he gets those set up, he gets that consistency that he needs. But he just never had that option this game.
Definitely, that early Parallel City really messed with him.
Early Parallel City forced him to either discard a a Vulpix or the Zorua. Chose to discard a Zorua. Looking back at it, I wonder if he's wishing, man, maybe I should have discarded a Vulpix. But I think at that point he was worried about a Guzma play potentially from Noel taking out his only Ninetales, and he does know how important that... taking out his only Vulpix, and he does know how important that Ninetales with the Luminous Barrier is.
Right, especially in this matchup when your main beefy boy is a Gardevoir.
Exactly. So, Noel, if you're Noel, I think you're feeling very good about that game.
Definitely.
You just took down one of the game's greats in round 1 of the Toronto TCG Regional Championships. And, another big disadvantage for Pram last game was that he went second. Going first in the Pokemon TCG is just so good. You get that extra turn of supporters. You get that extra turn to just, you get to evolve first. Sure, you don't get to attack on your first turn, but...
At that point,
with these evolution decks, it's so important to be able to evolve quickly.
We do have a mulligan.
Yep.
So Noel will be able to draw 1 extra card should he choose, which is also a great advantage in this game.
Absolutely. Both of these players did miss Bridget on their first turn last game. Bridget, of course, letting the players search their deck for up to 3 basic non-EX Pokemon or 1 EX Pokemon and putting them directly onto the bench. Such a strong card in these evolution setup decks, and we do see a basic over on Pram's side.
We do. He does have a handful of supporters, it looks like, as well, but I did not see the coveted natural Bridget, sadly.
Yes, unfortunately, doesn't look like he had it. We'll see. Maybe he can get pull it toward Reklev here and just top deck it if he needs it.
Ooh, we're starting with an Oranguru.
Looks like he chose to start the Oranguru. He did have that Zorua in his hand. Chose to send up a Oranguru, though. I think just looking at his hand, knowing he wasn't going to bridge it, he wanted to send this Oranguru up because he doesn't want to lose his potentially only Zorua quickly. So very smart play from Pramawat.
Seeing that turn 1 Cynthia just hurts me so much right now.
I think it's Pram's favorite supporter at this point. It's all he has basically played this entire set. A couple of Guzmas here and there last game, that one Bridget on that one turn, but ultimately ended up not mattering. Cynthia's been, unfortunately for Pramawat, his supporter of choice.
Right.
So it looks like he does have an Ultra Ball. He could get another basic in play, but actually
does just pass.
choosing not to, wanting to hold that Ultra Ball potentially for a Zoroark next turn.
Going over to Noel's side, we have the lone Remoraid, sadly.
Yep, I can't quite see his hand yet. I'm not sure if he has a Bridget yet.
All I can see is the DCE, sadly,
Yep.
and that's not much help at this point.
Yeah, he could go for a Ion Pool with Remoraid, discards a Stadium in play, but I don't think he's... Oh, as we get Remoraid pulled up on the stream.
A giant Remoraid has appeared.
And a
But
Cynthia.
the turn 1 Cynthia again. Goodness gracious, do they even play Bridget?
I know. What is happening here on the stream? Both of these players just playing so many Cynthias these games. And Noel needs to find a Ralts here, honestly.
Right.
I think he would be fine finding just a Vulpix as well, but like...
Literally anything we'll take at this point.
Yeah, absolutely. Because Pram could even attach a DCE to the active Oranguru and use Oranguru's second attack does 60 damage for 3 colorless, and that would take the knockout on Remoraid. A Timer Ball coming out from Noel. Ooh. We see 1 flip, 2 flips. Looks like it was double tails, and we're just going to see a concession from Noel saying, I am not going to win this game. We're going to go to a game 3, and we're going to see.
That was unexpected.
Yes, absolutely. After just such a dominating game from Noel, game 1, just a concession immediately after the double tails on Timer Ball, I think, there.
But that happens in Pokemon. We've seen it many times before.
Absolutely. Yeah, unfortunately, these first turn wins, or donks as we call them in the Pokemon TCG, can happen from time to time. No one likes to see that happen, but it kind of goes back to the deck building process, which is one of the great skills of the Pokemon TCG. How consistent do you build your deck? Do you have yourself a lot of outs? And both of these players do, but I think this just goes to show, even no matter how consistent you build your deck from time to time, you can still brick like that.
Right, and while donks do happen, it's not nearly as bad as years past where there were just donks after donks after donks in games.
Yeah, in years past, I know you could attack on the first turn, so it's just, sometimes your opponent wouldn't even get a turn. And that's
a good old Latios fast raid.
Fast raid, yep, absolutely. Or
turn 1 Night Watch.
Yeah, Plasma Curum even coming out, doing a big attack there with a bunch of Deoxys in play. It definitely, and many executes have been donked through the years as well, I'm sure. So.
Oh, definitely. It was a Wild West.
So we're going to go ahead into this game 3, and, there should be plenty of time here since that Noel did concede that one very, very quickly, and he will get to go first here.
I'm taking it. Yep, there we go. Another mulligan.
Looks like Pram is having to do another mulligan, shuffle his hand back in, and does need to find a basic Pokemon to start the game.
But Noel, just like that last game, Noel didn't have much luck with that mulligan draw.
He did not. No, normally getting an extra card is extremely good. Helps you, anytime you see more cards in the Pokemon TCG, it's great, right? It helps you find what you need. And it just didn't help Noel last game, excuse me.
Yes. He does end up getting that Alolan Vulpix. Perfect start for him. Ooh, we do see that Remoraid again. He takes his extra card, praying to find literally anything at this point, I think.
Yes, yeah, we'll see if he can get the turn 1 Bridget. We haven't seen one yet this set. I can't tell. I think that might be a Bridget at the end of his hand, but I can't tell. I think he would have played it by now.
I feel like he would have just slammed it down at this point if it's a natural Bridget.
Oh, there it is!
The natural Bridget.
He was slow rolling us a little bit, it looks like. Just kind of mulling over his options, I guess, trying to figure out, what is his follow-up going to be the next turn.
Right. So I have a hunch here.
Yes.
We might be seeing some routes.
I think we will see a few routes coming to play, potentially even an Alolan Vulpix as well. That beacon attack, like we said, just so powerful for these evolution.
And he does have the energy in hand to retreat into that Alolan Vulpix.
Yep. And speaking of Alolan Vulpix, Pramawat actually started it over on his side, which is potentially one of the best starters in the Pokemon TCG when you're going second, because you can attack on your first turn if you're going second. So just having it in the active spot means he's going to get a beacon next turn.
Exactly. Alolan Vulpix on that turn 2 is so good.
And we do see that Bridget does grab 2 routes and a Alolan Vulpix. We'll see if he does attach and retreat this turn. I think that we will most likely be seeing that, but we'll just have to see what he does after shuffling up here. Pram's going to cut. We see the 3 hit the bench. It looks like he will go ahead and
attachment into the Alolan Vulpix.
Absolutely.
And a pass on over. we'd see the natural Bridget on this side as well.
Yes, absolutely. The top deck from Pramawat getting exactly what he needed there. And, yeah, I think his hand was actually not very good previous to that. He does have a Zorua. He has a water energy as well. He does have the Bridget, though. I don't know that he has much of a follow-up next turn after this Bridget, though, unfortunately.
There was just a Guzma, I think.
But luckily, he can, with Beacon, find something like a Tapu Lele GX or even Zoroarks themselves to start trading, to start getting more set up.
Here we go with the 2-2 Vulpix Zoroark line.
Yep,
going
and
to the bench.
Pramawat actually decided here to get 2 Vulpix with that Bridget, as opposed to maybe going for a heavier setup option with 3 Zoruas in play. And I think this is, kind of smart. He wants to get those Vulpix out as quickly as possible because he knows how crucial that Ninetales is to winning this game.
Right. We see him mulling over some options here. The possibility of 1 Zoroark, 1 Ninetales, possibility of 2 Ninetales here. He does, like you said, those Ninetales are pivotal in this matchup.
Looks like he is just going to opt for 2 Zoroarks. I think he knows that his hand is pretty weak, and he's just going to need to draw cards next turn. He did attach the energy to the active Vulpix, which tells me he's going to want to try to get that Aurora Beam next turn. So I'm kind of surprised he didn't get to the Ninetales, but like I said, I think he just knows he's going to need to draw cards.
Right, and he can always get it off those 2 trades.
Absolutely. So over to Noel's turn. It looks like he does find the Octillery. We'll see if he has... Ooh, a Rare Candy into Gardevoir. That is a solid turn, too. We know he has a double colorless energy, it looks like, in his hand as well. He may not want to attach it, though, because at this point he does know that Pramawat does play Enhanced Hammer. But no.
But he goes for it.
And I think it's fine.
Sorry. We only saw 1 Enhanced Hammer played last round, so I have a feeling he only plays 1.
That's right. And I think it's fine as well to go ahead and just put it in play because it kind of forces Pramawat's hand, right? He either plays it and gets rid of the energy, or Noel gets to keep the energy in play, right? So you can't just like always play fearful of Enhanced Hammer. Sometimes you just need to get your energy attachments and keep getting attachments in play.
Exactly. Right now that Gardevoir is not doing much on the bench. It's fine for now.
Absolutely.
But that Alolan Vulpix that's up, it's going to Beacon. We're going to see 2 Pokemon come out after the attacks.
Yep. After the Cynthia here, we'll see if he can find another Ralts. I think that's what he'll most likely be looking for. I do think I see an Ultra Ball, so he can find one if he wants. We'll see what 2 resources he has to discard to do it, though.
There's a Guzma in hand, but I don't think he'd want to get rid of that right now. He's eyeing up a Field Blower.
Which I think is fine. I think the only tools like on Pramawat's side are going to be... It looks like he has to discard a DCE.
Ooh.
That's unfortunate. That tells me that the other cards in his hand are very good, things he definitely didn't want to get rid of.
Right.
He's definitely valuing getting more Ralts in play. Definitely.
And that Guzma's pivotal later on in game when there's going to be that barrier up.
Absolutely. Want to be able to get around that Luminous Barrier is going to be something he wants to do for sure. Actually opting to get a Kirlia here as opposed to Ralts.
Interesting choice, but I think he wants to go for having 2 Gardevoir out right away, putting that pressure on Pramawat since he has just a bunch of basics.
A little more aggressive of a play here, but he can Abyssal Hand. And you know what? There is a higher odds that he draws a Ralts off of the Abyssal Hand than him drawing a Kirlia potentially. So
we just see the Beacon.
Beacon will come out. We'll probably grab him one of those Stage 2 Pokemon. I think it looks like it's going to be a Tapu Lele and probably
the Gallade.
Gallade, yes. Going to need some sort of way to deal with that Ninetales over on Pram's side if it hits the field.
Just throwing down those Zoroarks, knowing that he needs to start trading right away.
Yeah, I think Pramawat is very, conscious of the clock here and wanting to, make sure that there's enough time to finish this game if he's going to be able to win it.
There's the Enhanced Hammer off that second trade.
He doesn't have the Ninetales yet, though. He needs Ninetales plus double colorless energy. Here comes an Aqua Patch, going to get that extra energy attachment this turn. Enhanced Hammer discards the DCE.
I think knowing that Noel had to discard that, going, we can get 2 DCEs in that discard pile.
Absolutely.
Solid idea.
Absolutely. And we do just see, once again, his favorite supporter this set, Cynthia.
Good old Cynthia.
Shuffle and draw 6 new cards. Such a great consistency card. In these decks, and he's definitely fine playing it at this point in the game, right? It was just unfortunate when he had not been able to bridge it and all that. So 6 cards here. We'll see if he can find the Ninetales and a DCE. I do see an Ultra Ball for Ninetales, but
there's no DCE, sadly.
no double colorless.
He does, on the other hand, have a Field Blower, a Puzzle, and not really anything else that can help on that, sadly.
And he has already used those 2 trades this turn, so no extra cards here. Looks like both of those Ninetales were at the bottom of the deck, so right there hanging out with each other in the deck, it looks like.
Grabbing the 1.
Yep, gonna go ahead and put it in play. And, you know, Noel, in order to, you know, take a knockout on this turn, he would need a lot. He would need Secret Spring or Floatstone to move the active. I'm not sure that he plays Floatstone. We didn't see any last game, I don't think, on Noel's side. Plus a double colorless energy and a Gallade, which we know he has the Gallade, but we also know he's down 2 double colorless energy.
Right.
So just a pass from Pramawat.
With the 3rd DCE in hand
Yeah,
for Noel.
I see that. Looks like Noel does have that option potentially. If he has a fairy, he can retreat this active, and if he plays a supporter, he can use Sensitive Blade and take a knockout here this turn on the Ninetales and really just get rid of one of these threats from Pramawat.
Opting to look through Michael's discard, seeing what's there, counting up everything.
He does have a Guzma in hand, and he could, like, Guzma and take a knockout on one of these Zoroarks with Gallade, which I don't think would be terrible.
Definitely not.
Taking Zoroarks out of play worked out very well for Noel in Game 1, so I think he's, you know, definitely mindful of that and may want to go for that strategy once again.
I think it's a very solid option right now. Being able to hit for weakness on top of getting rid of something that you can trade Pokemon away, it really just shuts down Pramawat's engine.
Absolutely. And I think Pramawat would actually need a lot to respond with a one-hit KO on the Gallade. He would need, you know, an Aqua Patch plus an Energy Attachment plus an Alolan Ninetales GX.
Right.
And a way to retreat his active, which I guess he could do with the Ninetales in the active spot now, but doesn't want to have to discard too many energy if he doesn't have to.
Interesting enough, we see him only bring up the Baby Vulpix with that Guzma and not going for one of those Zoroarks.
Yeah, that is an interesting decision, but he's targeting down this energy, so I can understand his thought process here, and it doesn't seem too bad to me. Wants to get, you know, he knows Pram at this point does play 2 of these, you know, baby Ninetales that he'll have to deal with, so just getting the the Vulpix out of play means that's 1 less Ninetales he has to deal with.
Trading away that water for, looks like a solid hand there, the DCE.
Does find the DCE, which will allow him to use Aurora Beam here this turn. Double Puzzle of Time as well on Pramawat's side of the field. Can get Enhanced Hammer. Going to be really good here. Getting rid of Noel's 3rd DCE.
It's not good.
Yeah, and Noel, you know, he can, you know, attach 2 fairies next turn using the Secret Spring ability on Gardevoir GX. So that can still be an option for him to get a knockout on this active. But Pramawat's forcing him to find it here, right?
Right.
So we see the Enhanced Hammer. Cynthia
Good old
coming
Cynthia.
out once again. Gonna see him 6 new cards here, and I think at this point, maybe just wanting to bench another Zorua, maybe could find an Alolan Ninetales GX on the bench, or his other baby Ninetales to evolve the one Vulpix that is able to evolve this turn.
Right. He does have a lot of options here. See what he can get.
Looks like the 6 cards come out. We'll see this hand. I see a couple of ends. Another Cynthia, a Guzma, Zoroark GX. No other basics, though. And we'll just see the Aurora Beam for 80.
Right. Noel checking out what he has in his discard, reminding himself, oh no, there are 3 DC in the discard.
Noel is definitely a little sad right now, but he does have a Max Potion in his hand, which will just totally erase that damage that Pram did last turn. And, you know, Max Potion is such a powerful card, but it is a very costly card. You have to discard all the energy attached to your Pokemon. But since Pramawat played that Enhanced Hammer, Noel doesn't have any energy that he has to discard, so...
It's free healing at this point.
Free healing, absolutely. Looks like we just saw the Lele for the Bridget, just kind of thinning his deck out at this point.
So there's that Max Potion healing off all that damage.
Now something here, you know, Bridget's... Okay, I was going to say, Bridget, you know, might not be the best option, but if he has the energy he needs, he could even just Bridget a Ralts, and that would provide him the supporter he needs for the turn to take the knockout, but no, he didn't have the energy. He's going to Sycamore here and try to hit those cards. Do see a rare candy in his hand. He needs either his last double colorless energy or 2 fairy energies in order to knock out the Ninetales this turn.
Right. And I see 1 energy in the back, it looks like, that he just put down.
He's laying some cards down, though, so I think he should be able to thin his hand down a little bit to potentially go for Abyssal Hand.
There's the Premonition. We do see 2 fairy as well as that DCE.
He does have that option, but interestingly enough, he has the cards set out like he's going to use an Ultra Ball or something, but if he plays those cards to try to thin his hand down, he'll shuffle his deck and these cards won't be back in the order, so those must just be other cards that he can put in play this turn as opposed to an Ultra Ball. Just really kind of trying to figure out here what the order is he wants to put these things in.
Interesting. Was the DC on the bottom?
I think so. I think that's what he put on the top.
Okay, the top.
Yeah. So he's going to Parallel City, reduce his bench to 3. He has to discard something. Looks like, yeah, just probably going to be that Tapu Lele. Seems like the best choice at this point.
Right. It's just a free 2 prizes at this point.
Field Blower
away his Parallel City.
He just wants to draw the, thin down his hand so that he can draw with Abyssal Hand here.
Right. Attaching that energy to that Gardevoir.
Yep, using Secret Spring and Abyssal Hand for 1 will find that DCE that he needs, and Sensitive Blade takes the knockout, just getting rid of that Ninetales in play for Pramawat. Pramawat really mulling over his options here. What does he want to send up? What is this next turn going to look like for him? Like I said, he's at a point now that I don't know that he can respond to this Gallade this turn. He would need like double Aqua Patch plus Floatstone plus another energy. Like he just needs a lot of cards to pull it off. But with Zoroark GX in play, certainly something that could happen.
And at Cynthia in hand. I'm pretty sure he has one.
Yeah, I think he does indeed. He'll be able to see lots of cards this turn. We'll see if he's able to do it and able to get that response. And if he is, honestly, Noel has just the 1 Gardevoir GX in play. So he only has the 1 attacker set up if this Gallade does get dealt with. So we did just hear time called in the hall, but these players are on a different schedule, guys. So if you heard that, don't worry. These guys do have more time still.
Here's the draw.
Ooh, I do see 2 Aqua Patch, I think, in his hand, plus a Floatstone and an Ultra Ball. There's another one, so I think he might have it. I do believe I see 2 Aqua Patch. I can't quite tell. I definitely see 1 at least, though. Looks like the second trade coming out. There it is. If he didn't have it before, he definitely has it now. Ultra Ball can get rid of 2 cards, find him the Alolan Ninetales GX that he needs. Floatstone will move the active Vulpix, and double Aqua Patch will get 2 water energies in play, letting Ninetales get a knockout here on Gallade.
Right. What a comeback.
Absolutely. A super powerful turn from Pramawat, hitting all the cards he needs to pull off this combo. Actually, maybe eyeing up the baby Ninetales. Does he not have an Alolan Ninetales GX in his deck, actually?
Uh-oh.
Maybe there
Have we spoke too soon?
Have we spoken too soon? It looks like he didn't have any Alolan Ninetales GX in his deck. He must have prized multiple because that is very, very unfortunate. I think 1 may have hit the discard on an Ultra Ball earlier on in the game. I can't quite remember, but we'll just see the 2 baby Ninetales come out. Oh, he actually plays 3 baby Ninetales, it looks like.
I think it's a 3-2?
Maybe a 3-2 split. Maybe he does only play 1 Alolan Ninetales and I just didn't realize it. Excuse me, Alolan Ninetales GX. But we will just see the Aurora Beam for 80 damage.
Ooh, such a shame. You hyped me up so much on this.
I am so sorry. It looks like he didn't have access to it. He hit the cards he needed, but he just didn't have the card in the deck that he needed, the last card he needed.
We see a timer ball. He does get heads for 1 at least. Heads for 2.
Makes up for that double tails in the last game, if you ask me.
Right. Searching his deck for 2 Pokemon. Unsure what he gets here.
Yeah, I think, he can't, put anything in play. He doesn't play an evolution for anything. He doesn't play any Ninetales cards, so he can't evolve the Vulpix. It looks like he actually just chose to fail it. I think he was just trying to thin the timer ball out of his hand so he didn't hit it again off of this end.
we have the end coming down, putting Noel at 4 and Pramawat at 5 cards.
Yeah, Noel's getting less cards here, but he does still have that Premonition plus Artillery engine setup, so he'll be able to have his pick of the top 5 cards of his deck after this end. All right, so we have just been notified a time has been called for these players. Noel will be turn 0, and Pramawat will be turn number 1, Noel turn 2, and Pram turn 3. And in order to win this set, Noel has to take 4 prizes. He can't do it because he played the Cynthia last turn. He won't be able to like Guzma and take out a knockout on a Zorak. So it looks like it's actually, unfortunately, going to be a tie here in round number 1.
Such a shame.
Pramawat showing his prizes there. Double DC in the prizes. The Lonely Ninetales was in the prizes, it looks like. These guys just kind of recapping the game here at this point. And, man, what a game for round number 1. Really great that we got to see this on stream. Unfortunate it ended in a tie, but, you know, really, really solid game for sure.
Definitely.
So we'll see if we can maybe get a winner's interview.
Too bad we didn't have a winner.
That's right.
No.
Yeah, I apologize. So no
We're just
interview
gonna come
for
back
this
in
one.
round 2.
Yep. So we will take a short break, guys, and we'll be back very soon for round number 2 here at the Toronto TCG Regional Championship.
Yep.